On a terrace with a parapet and two small columns, Mona Lisa is sitting on a semicircular wooden chair. Placed side on, it has arms with supporting bars. She is shown from just below the waist, her folded arms discreetly framing her torso, which is turned slightly to the viewer's right. Her head, almost face on, accentuates this movement and the obliqueness of her gaze. Her right arm is resting on her left wrist, and her left arm on the chair arm.
Despite the darkness in the lower left-hand corner of the picture, one can presume the presence of the model's legs. Through the loggia's balusters, one can make out the golden light bathing the landscape behind. Mona Lisa seems very close to us, in the same space as us.
Mona Lisa's face stands out against two distinct landscapes. A humanized brown landscape and an imaginary opaque blue landscape. We have a bird's-eye view of the landscape, whereas the figure is seen frontally. Yet there is a harmony between figure and landscape. The horizon line is level with the model's gaze. And there are formal analogies between the folds of her sleeves and the motif of the winding road. The balcony on which Mona Lisa is seated subtly articulates these two radically different viewpoints.
The columns, only partially in view, frame the figure and landscape. They ensure the transition between the figure in the foreground and the landscape in the distance. When the columns are brought closer, the landscape becomes a mere decor.
The Mona Lisa is wearing a very dark, severe dress with a pleated bust, embroidered with interlacing forms in gold. The dress's low neckline exposes her chest down to the top of her cleavage. She is wearing no jewellery. A scarf is hanging from her left shoulder, and her yellow sleeves are rumpled in little folds. She's wearing a veil over her slightly tousled hair.
The veil Mona Lisa is wearing need not necessarily be interpreted as a sign of mourning. It was a traditional part of female headdress, like the one in Domenica Ghirlandaio's Portrait of a Young Woman Wearing a Veil, circa 1485-1490. Mona Lisa's attire is surprisingly sober compared to other more structured and colourful costumes painted around that time. Its sobriety suggests that the artist was less interested in his model's appearance than in the timelessness of her expression.